Let's go and talk about Metasploit real quick. If you got any questions, you are more than welcome to put it on chat. For some reason, YouTube is not accepting it, so we have to go with Facebook. All right. So this will be the first talk on this series. I'm planning to have at least 2 more or 3 more. Okay. So it will go and move from this point to in future. So basically what is going to happen is we'll start with the basics, obviously, and then we'll move forward to the next ones. So let's go and talk about how this thing looks like. I'm going to use the web browser to get started. Okay. So first thing going to be Metasploit, and this will be the link MSFU. Okay, and I'm opening this one just to walk you through with the framework itself. So later on, when we use different functions, you know exactly how these things are coming in. So I'll be putting these links on in notes. So once we finish up the recording, I will try to put it on a good place. So let's go to desktop and make a directory. We're gonna name it as a FB Live. Okay, and I can open our notes. So this will be the link. Right, let's move into. I want to look into the architecture real quick. So far, I guess everyone understand what is Metasploit. You have seen ton of videos where people are using Metasploit to hack into Windows computer, running attacks like creating payloads, hacking into computers, and doing fancy stuff with that. Now, just to be sure, we are using the Metasploit community edition that is free, open source. Okay, there is another version of Metasploit that is Metasploit Pro that comes with some more advantages. Right, you can have a sophisticated phishing attack or campaign managers. You can have web-based payload generators and stuff like that. I'll try to cover the basics because Metasploit Pro does come with the trial version. So in last few classes or sessions, we'll try to cover those things as well. Okay, so let's first and see what that means. So here we see there's a few options, right? Let's go open this image in a nice environment. That looks nice. So this is how this environment actually looks like. So we got MSF, right? So let's talk about the UI first. So in UI we had drivers, we got console, we got command line interface, web UI, graphical user interface, and Armitage. Now, if you are an experienced user with Metasploit, you might have understand few of these things like CLI, that is what we use as a MSF console. Web UI, you can write your own, or you can use something like Metasploit Pro. There's a few more tools available like this on GitHub that invokes Metasploit API and give you a web user interface. Okay, none of them are fully stable, so I'm going to ignore those things. Anyhow, we're going to use Metasploit Pro, so that will be running on web UI. Now, graphical user interface. Here comes one more thing. Armitage is a tool that is based on Metasploit core, but uses a graphical user interface. And how that looks like and how we're gonna use it, we will look into that one later. Okay, and we can have a poll, right? We can ask questions like which one you want to start with. So anyhow, this is the first introduction. I'm going to walk you through with the basic examples and the quick hack. And after this UI part, there is something called base, right? In base, you have configurations, logging mechanisms, or serializer, right? We got our simple framework and the sessions. And between these two, there's a few more things comes up. That is penetration modules. And these are the categories. So we start with auxiliary, we got encoders, we have exploits, we have knobs, and we have payloads. So each category contains scripts. Okay, so for example, auxiliary going to contain all the scripts that can be used for either scanning a network or scanning a network for a particular vulnerability or a particular exploits, right? If that's gonna work or not. Encoders that gonna encode or help us to encode from one format to another format. Okay, we already used, or we can say the most common encoders we use is base64, right? If you're using Linux computer, you can pretty much use something like this. Let me show you a quick example of that. So if I do echo hello there, it's gonna echo out hello there for us. Now this is what we call these things. It's an ASCII character that we're printing it on our terminal. Now what we can do is we can invoke an encoder, and we're gonna use base64, and we're gonna create a something, right, that we cannot read, but because it's encoded and we know the encoder algorithm, what we can do is we can actually go to a different tab. Let's go open base64 decode, and we can go to pretty much any website that's listed up here, paste our encoded payload or encoded text, click on decode, and we get our text in ASCII character or UTF-8 encoding methods. So encoder will help us to encode into different formats. Now we are not going to convert into base64. We might be using it to convert into a different formats, and that will help us to evade antivirus or signatures. The next one is exploits. So obviously, as the name suggests, this will be the exploit code or the line of codes that going to help us to attack on the vulnerable code and give us a privilege or permission to run our arbitrary code. For example, a backdoor, or might be a backdoor shell, right? We got knobs that will help us to mitigate any bad characters from our payloads, and obviously payloads will be the actual backdoors that are going to give us capability to control those backend stuff. Like I can send a command, our payload will run that command on the computer and give output to us. Okay, so that will be the thing, and we'll look into a few of them today and work on those ways too in future things. Now let's what else we got? We got graphical GUI editions. This was the one. Community editions have exploitations, scanning, and post. Okay. So I guess the graphical user interface is giving us those things. All right. Fundamentals, going to cover the fundamentals. Okay. And for that, there is a course. If you look into security tube, SFME, security tube, something. So let's do MSF. That comes up with SFME, something like that. Yeah, SMFE, that is. course from Vivek Ramachandran sir, and this will walk you through with a basic, from basics to the intermediate level. Okay, so again a new thing came up. Let's go copy this, put it into notes. All right. Now, I'm assuming you have the basic idea what Metasploit is. Okay, so I'm not going to walk you through with those things, but we will be running few commands on this. So let's go make it a little bit bigger. And then we're gonna do, I'm already logged in as a root, so that's a sign. I'm gonna do MSF console, and it should start Metasploit console for us. Now, if you're running it for first time, you can do like msfdb and space run. Now what this is gonna do is it will create a database, assign that database to our Metasploit console, and then start the database, and then it will start MSF console for us. For first time user, this is highly recommended command that you should run. If you're not running this, you have to run few commands like MSF console init or MSFDB init. Okay, next command will be service PostgreSQL start and then MSF console. This particular command utility takes all those things from us, so that's a good idea to run it for the very first time. Okay, I guess I already have the database and created those things for me and running commands for us. And it's taking time. And if you're running in Kali Linux or the latest version of Kali Linux, this is the thing that you might need to fix. I'm going to take care of these things real quick. Just copy pasting the command and it should go. Okay. All right. Hey, we got it. Okay, so we got a banner. That looks good. Let's go type the banner command. It should give us a new banner. So if you're getting a different banner, don't worry. It's okay. Okay. Now, there's a cow say, it's what it says. It says something here. The first thing we can see is the version. So current version we're running is Metasploit version 6.0.22-dev. Okay. Please make sure you look into those things. If you're running older version of Kali Linux or Parrot OS or something like that, your version might differ. Okay, you're gonna look into that thing. Then you say there's a 2086 exploits. So there's a number of exploits that this particular versions holds on my computer. We had 1126 auxiliary scripts, 354 post exploitations, or the script that we can run once we have access to the backdoored computer or compromised computer. We have 592 different type of payloads. Now these are the backdoors, okay, that we can use for different things. Okay, so this is what we are looking here. Next thing is encoders. Now we already talked about encoders. Encoder will help us to convert our payload language from one format to other format. Right? We got 10 knobs to remove or mitigate our bad characters. We'll look into that one later on when we're doing the shell coding. And then 7 evasion techniques. So I guess I can do show evasion. No, I cannot. Okay. I can actually do show encoders though. It will show me all the encoders available to us. The most common encoders that you have seen in many YouTube videos is x86 Cicata GA9. Okay, it's a polymorphic bizarre additive feed. But all the payloads that we're going to use will be x64 that takes 64-bit payloads, And for that, we have x64 jar that is having a normal state or rating or rank. The more one thing is CMD PowerShell base 64. Okay, so that's a thing. Now, what we can do? We don't have a target today. Okay, so here's the idea how things gonna work. Today I'll show you in a local machine, and from the next session, it will be running on Pentester Academy's online labs. Okay, so to do so, I'm gonna go and open up a new virtual machine on my local machine or laptop, and that will be running what we should run. Let's run Windows 7 because we have that infamous eternal blue vulnerability over there, so we can exploit that one real quick. Okay, I'm powering it up. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to post. So, okay, you cannot see my Windows 7 machine here. Let me enable the RDP. Let's come to boots up. Awesome. Let's go and enable what we call it, a remote desktop protocol that will help us to connect this computer. It's already allowed. Looks like it's allowed. Let's look into the IP address real quick. So IP config 103.2. So let's go and run a new tab. I'm going to do R desktop 192.168.103.2. And you should be able to see my RDP desktop here. It's running Windows 7 Professional, right? All right. Okay. So if you type host name, it's telling me it's a mentor-pc. Awesome. I can do something like system info to run a system information command here real quick. And it's print out this nice information for us, right? So let's go a little bit up. I'm going to show you one quick thing here, and that is the architecture. That is x64 based PC. Awesome. Most of the time we're gonna minimize it and have it in background. We don't need it anyway. We'll have this tab open in order to reconnect or have this session open up. Anyway, we can read it on certificate expose the CN or common name, that is mentor-pc, and it's valid till May 24, 2021. It's a self-signed certificate, so it doesn't hold any credibility here. Awesome. Now the first thing we're going to do is we'll exit out from Metasploit. Let's go into the CD desktop FB live mkdir and map. Now because I am a root, I'm going to run a quick nmap command and see what kind of results we can get. So we'll do nmap -A. It's an aggressive scan shot. Okay, so we'll run -sc, sv, and I guess the default are safe scripts. Okay, let's ignore that part. We'll run it on IP address. So 192.168.103.2. Okay, and we see this ton of ports opened up. So we see there is a port 445. Let me run one quick service on that computer real quick. just to make these things a little bit interesting, I'm gonna go and the server name is this. If I can run it properly. Okay. So I just ran one server on that computer. If you run an nmap again, we should be able to see port 80 is open. Okay. So the interesting port I can see is port 80, 135, 139, 445, and 3389. So what I'm going to do is I'll write a command. So we'll do nmap dash dash, sorry, dash as C as V. Now remember, the S will be small and the next character C and V will be in caps. So then we're going to type the port. So assigning, hey, only scan these particular ports. So 80, 135, 139, 445, and 3389. And the IP address is 192.168.103.2. And save this output to a file. So dash OA, this will go into nmap, and this will be the as nmap. So it's just a vanilla nmap scan going up here. Okay. And I created one thing for fun. I'm not sure it's gonna work properly or not. Anyway, I'll try it. If you can see a poll, just try to click on option 1 and option 2. This is a test poll. I just want to confirm if we can run a poll in live sessions or not. Okay. If you can see the session, if you see a poll button, please go ahead and click option 1 or option 2. Doesn't matter which one you're clicking. Okay. So please do that. And we can see you still 95% finish. Okay. So we see there's a few results came in. Awesome. So let's go up and see what are the information. So port 80 is running HTTP file server, right? And that is HFS 2.3. Okay. So we got one thing. Let's look into the other things. It's default Microsoft remote RPC is remote procedure calls, so it doesn't bother anymore. 139 is NetBIOS that expose our host name to the network. We're going to look into that one in more depth in our network monitoring sessions. 445 is actually network share or SMB, and that exposes the operating system with the version and the service pack. Not a good idea. And 3389 is our terminal server or RDP server that expose our host name, computer informations, and all those things. Not computer information, but operating system informations. Okay. Now we can run one more thing real quick, and that will be, let's click this one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use other function that is called script tag. SCRIPT. I'm going to use a script called 1, that is the categories. I'm going to set an output of this on nmap and run it as a 1. Have it running on that. It will take few seconds to finish. Okay. Okay, it's still running. Yeah, let's have it running. Anything came up? I still have 98.28%. It does take a little bit time, so that's okay. Come on, 99%. All right. Oh, some reason RDP cancelled out. We'll run it later on. So I still have 98, 99 point something. All right. Um, 99.53. Almost there. 99.84. Still going on. All right, it's almost about to finish. I should have run on only 2 ports. It's taking longer than I thought it will take. No, it's finished. Awesome. So that is what I want to look into, and we can see the vulnerabilities now. So port 80, HTTP file server, and we can see it says, hey, tampering is allowed. So we can actually use port 80 to hack into this computer. Now next option will be the, okay, port 80 is vulnerable for a DOS attack, and this was vulnerable for HTTP verb tampering. So we got 2 different attacks. 135 nothing, 139 nothing, 445 telling me exactly nothing. 3389 on other hand says it's vulnerable for RDP denial of service vulnerability. Okay. So, and the next one we see there's a Samba or 445 vulnerability, that is MS17010. So we got another vulnerabilities. So with 2 entry points that we can use to exploit into this machine. So we'll do MSF run, and we can use Metasploit to verify these problems and try to hack into. So the first thing I'm going to look into is use auxiliary. Okay, So I don't know which one gonna look like this. So I'll do a search. The first one I look into HFS, SEARCH, HFS, and we see there's a exploit, right? All right. Let's try to do a search on MS17010, and we do have a script to scan it. Okay. So I'm going to use a script one. So I'll do use exploit, not exploit, auxiliary scanner smb underscore ms17010. We'll do show options to see the options. So to set, I guess our hosts, that is here. So to set our host 192.168.103.0/24. Let's scan the entire network. Like, why not? We'll set a threads. So instead of scanning one computer at a time, it'll scan 50 computer at a time. That will be too much because I am streaming. Let's make it as 30. I need to put less load on my CPU, and then we'll run it. The right away is telling me it's 103.2 is for null. Okay, it's going to scan the entire network. I don't have any Windows 7 running, so it won't be able to find any other vulnerabilities apart from these machines. If they can, that will be dangerous for me.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
Okay, so it's finished, and we got 192.168.103.445. We'll do a search again, and this time we're gonna use MS17010, and this time I'm gonna use this exploit. So the exploit I'm gonna use is this. Now in Metasploit 6, there is a new function, and that's tell you here, like interact with a module by name or index. For example, in 4.4, use 4, or use exploit this. So I'm going to do a use 2 to invoke this ID, and this will be actually invoking this particular command, and we see it does have that. So we got exploit, then Windows SMB MS17010 eternal blue. Now this one first is telling me it is the categories of the thing. So first one was telling me it's auxiliary. This one is telling me it's a exploit. And one thing we can read here, it says, hey, no payload configured, defaulting to Windows x64 Meterpreter reverse TCP. That is a payload that Metasploit uses a lot. Okay, if you're writing OSCP or something like that, this is kind of restricted over there. You cannot use this. Okay, so if you want, we can do like, hey, I'm gonna change the payload. So I'll do set payload, Windows x64. I'll do PowerShell. Okay, in PowerShell, I have different options. So I'll do PowerShell reverse TCP. Now, this time payload changed to PowerShell reverse TCP. And I have to set the R host anyways. So let's do a set R hosts. So simply 192.168.103.2 and run the exploit. If everything goes correctly, we should be able to exploit this, and we should get a PowerShell backdoor sessions to us. Okay. So we'll see if that works. Still going on. Okay. Oh, we get this fail here. All right, we can read that one here. So somehow this exploit failed. No worry, we already have another one, right? HFS, that was the file name. So we'll do a search HFS that came on this place. We'll do use one. It's configured to again Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. If you see something like that, that means it's a 32-bit payload. And Windows does support both architecture. If it's running on 64-bit, it will run 32-bit file architectures or programs as well as 64-bit. So we can actually abuse that function and run a 32-bit payload, but that won't be a good idea. So let's go and set our payloads to something more higher. So we'll do Windows x64, Windows x64, and does not support that. Okay, let's start running with default payloads and see if that works. So we'll do exploit. So you can run different commands. You can run run or you can run exploit. And we have to set the R host. Some do a set G command that will set this variable to the global things. So we can use multiple payloads with the same R host. So it will set this R host value for global. So 192.168.103.2, and we exploit it. So you can run either do run command or you can run this command. And basically what is happening is if you log in back to our remote desktop, so username is mentor, password is the same, and we can see, oh, it's crashed. So we can see our HFS does crash. So let's run our test server real quick, shall we? So we run it. Let's go and try to exploit it one more time. And basically it's just sending some malicious activities that we can see here. And we can see the connections. And this time session opened. Awesome. So I can do like sysinfo. That's a basic Meterpreter help command. Right. Other command we can do like ps to list the process. We can see all the process listed up here. So this is most likely to be our malware or the backdoor code. All right. And these are some other programs that are running in background. Right. If you want, we can replace it with a different name or run it as a different ways. Let's try to do some more information. I can do like pwd to look into where we are. We see we're into desktop test. Let's go one directory up, see what's in my desktop. We can do dir to list all the files. All right, there is a file says hacker. Let's go into the hacker. And we get error message. Right. If you look closely, we can read this is a directory and hacker is a directory. But for some reason, we cannot get inside. Let's try to see, do we have a directory named hacker? We do check because we are logged in. So you see there's a directory called hacker, but this user is not able to log in. Let's do a get uid command. We are mentor. All right. Let's try cd ha. Oh, HAKER. That was my mistake. Okay, we get into the directory. We can do like pwd ls, and we can see there is some text file, right? There's a memory dump for something and hack.txt. We can add it hack.txt, and we can actually make a something like hacked using HFS file service. Right. So we can actually write into that computer, and if you go back to the hacker folder and look into the hack, You see, we just updated this OneNote or Notepad. Yes. Now what we can do is we can run some like hash dump. It will try to run some hash, but it's not going to work because we log in as a standard user. Um, there is the easiest way to do that. Uh, Let me check it real quick. That is get system. So just do get system. It will try a few default ways of hacking or trying to uh, get you super admin or administrator privileges. So let's try to run it. And it's most likely going to fail because the first thing, we are running on a different architecture. Second thing is this system does not have any vulnerability that is they are using to hack into. Okay. What else we can do? We can record a mic, we can list the webcams, we can stream their webcam, take a snap or picture using their webcams and stuff like that. We can look into the keyboards, right? We can run a screen share. We can do a screenshot, like we can take a picture of their screenshot. So we can like a screenshot and access is denied. So for some reason, we are not able to do that as well. All right. So as a standard user, we are pretty much limited. So here comes different things. So we can go into like background and then use post explorations. Like we can click post, right? And we hit tab and we see this exploits list. So when we look into post Windows, if we hit enter, we had 195 different options that we can run. So there's a get system, does not work. We can look into gathers. So like check VM. So that looks good. So like use post Windows gather check VM. And if you like to show options, so I'll do set G session, and the session ID will be 1. So every time if I have any options, we have to set session, the ID will be always set to 1 automatically. We can run the command and we can see this is a VMware virtual machine. Indeed, we are running on virtual machine. Even sysinfo, if we do login into our sessions, -i for interact. If it like sysinfo, it does tell me, nope, it's not telling me that. Let's do a PS. There will be a process for VM something. We don't have that process. That is weird. Or might be we cannot list it. That would be a problem. But Windows 7 does run a process like VMware tools, something like that. So that will help you to understand if that is that. And we can see there's a hfs.exe that we are actually exploiting to gain into the system access. There's a cmd.exe that we look into cmd.exe. I don't see though. I don't have a cmd.exe running here. So that's a weird thing, right? RDP clip, okay, we are running RDP, so that is okay. This one, vmtools.d.exe. So it's vmtools daemon.exe process. Explorer.exe is basically the graphical interface we get. Okay. Let's exit out from these things. Okay. So that wasn't my motive to go through and hack a local computer. Okay, that was just to give you the idea of what you can expect from these things. Now, main idea is, I'm going to show and walk you through with that. So let's go web browser. Let me go into so we're going to use Attack Defense Online Labs to complete. There's 2 reasons for that. First, let me walk you through with the reasons real quick. One second. Okay. Just 1 second, please. Okay, so we're going to use Pentester IDDB because they already have the lab set up for us. So we'll do meta-asp-int. Okay, so we're going to use these labs to get into. Okay, so there's some Metasploit challenges and stuff like that. I guess there's a better way to search labs. I'll just try to find a way to do that. Okay, so I guess Curtin Labs has few of them. Yeah. So I'm gonna use where this thing goes. Metasploit. Here it is. So we're gonna use this particular function or tags. I'm going to latest targets, and we're gonna do these machines live. Okay, so none of this machine is solved by me so far. So I will be doing live. I trust on myself. I guess I can do those machines. Okay, if we're stuck somewhere, I'll look for the options, ask you people to help me out, and complete the challenges. So in next session, we are jumping into these things. I guess let's start one of the service and see how that looks like. Just to show you, I never completed these challenges. All right. So we have SU, switch, target. There's a mission. What we have to do? Is there any hints? No hints, I guess. I don't see any hints coming up here, so let's give it a try. And this is just a teaser to walk you through what we are trying to do here. Level says easy, so I guess I should be able to finish it without any problem. Come on. That's taking time. Oh, did I click on stop? Yep. This number automatically goes to 14 for some reason. I have no idea why that is happening. It says lab is running, but I don't see anything here. Okay, let's try to run it on India. Might take a little bit time, or a little less time. Sure. Okay, let's click on the lab link and I'm just gonna look into the thing if we can make sense out of it. Okay, so we can see those things. There is a readme. By default, PostgreSQL is not started on boot. Database might be required on Metasploit, image, blah blah blah. Let's start it real quick. Okay, and we do nmap. We do require the IP address that I don't know yet. The IP address will be, the target should be on 192.xy3. Okay, IPA. So we'll do a nmap-sc and map-sc as v 192 and 232.45.3 dash vvv. It will go in verbose mode, and if I can type nmap, that will be amazing. So nmap, hit enter, and let's see. Scanning service on target 1. So the system name is target 1, I guess. There is port 8080 open. That is running Coyote OpenKM. So we'll do a search exploit. So search exploit OpenKM. And we do see there is a vulnerability for that. It's on Metasploit. And this challenge is based on Metasploit, so that makes sense. We'll do MSF db run. You might get some error message like this. Don't worry, that's okay. So we'll do a search, search OpenKM. We do have this exploit. If I don't had this exploit here, I would have gone back to search exploit, downloaded this RB file, imported back to our Metasploit custom plugins, and then reloading the plugins and doing the attack. But here we have these things here, so that's okay. We can run it. So we'll do use exploit multi http OpenKM km upload jsp.exe. Show options. Set rhost 192.232. What was the IP address after that? I remember that far. 45.3. Our host, our port is 8080. Which port it's running? It's running on 8080, so that's okay. SSL is false. Nothing is changed. I'll just set our host to 192.232.45.2 because we do need a backdoor session that is here. I'll set I'll port to 1337 just for fun and run the exploit. And we should be able to hack it real quick because it's an easy challenge. I'm not sure there will be some stuff, and it's done. Can we run the command? Yep, we can run the command. So we'll do ls. There is a flag. We'll do a cat flag. We get this flag here real quick. Let's copy this. Go back to our attack defense. Verify flag. Post or paste. Check. Come on, and then it's done. Awesome. So we're gonna running this kind of labs in future and try to finish up from there instead of doing it or setting one labs in my computer, running it. In this way, we can finish or cover multiple things in one day and work on that way. So I'm not sure people are gonna like this or not, but anyhow, we're gonna have it. So hope that was useful for a few of you. I guess this is the introduction, so I'm not sure everyone is getting something out of it. But anyway, that is starting. So have fun, be safe, and we'll see you on next day.